When did someone believe in your talent more than you did? I was halfway through a commission piece, a portrait of someone's golden retriever that was already 3 days past deadline, when my partner Kieran barged through the door of my studio apartment and grabbed my paint-stained hands. "Put on shoes," he said, pulling me toward the closet. "We're going to be late." I yanked my hands back. "Late for what?" "Just trust me. I can't go anywhere. I'm broke, I'm behind on work, and I look like I've been finger painting with toddlers." He grabbed my sneakers from the pile by the door and dropped them in front of me. "You look fine. We're leaving in 2 minutes." I stared at him. "Kieran, I'm serious. I don't have time for this." "2 minutes," he repeated, and walked back out to the hallway like the conversation was over. For weeks, I'd been grinding through client work in that same cramped corner, scrolling past announcements for the spring art fair, and convincing myself it didn't matter that I couldn't afford a booth or take the time off. Every time I ranted about how I'd apply next year, Kieran just nodded and said something vague like, "Yeah, maybe," which should have been my first clue that he was up to something. I put on the sneakers. I didn't have the energy to argue. We drove across town in silence. I kept asking where we were going. He kept turning up the radio. By the time he parked in front of a small gallery I'd admired from the sidewalk a dozen times but never stepped inside, my stomach was in knots. "Why are we here?" I asked. He got out of the car without answering. I followed him to the door. The lights were on inside. I could see people moving around, hear the low hum of conversation. Kieran opened the door and stepped aside. I walked in and froze. My paintings were on the walls, all of them. The abstract piece I'd finished last month. The portrait series I thought no one cared about. Even the weird experimental canvas I'd been too embarrassed to post online. They were hanging under gallery lights with little printed tags beneath them, and there were people standing in front of them, actually looking. I turned to Kieran. "What did you do?" "Surprise," he said, grinning like he'd just pulled off a heist. A woman in a blazer walked over and extended her hand. "You must be the artist. I'm Fiona, the gallery owner. Your partner's been emailing me for weeks. I'm so excited to feature your work in this pop-up preview." I shook her hand because my brain couldn't come up with anything else to do. "I didn't know about this. That was the idea," Kieran said behind me. I looked around the room. My old art school classmate Becca was standing by the abstract piece, holding a glass of wine. A couple of my regular clients were near the portrait series, pointing at details. Even my neighbor from 2 floors down was there, studying the experimental canvas like it meant something. "How long have you been planning this?" I asked Kieran. "About a month," he said. "You kept talking about the art fair like it was some impossible thing, so I figured I'd just skip the middleman and get your work in front of people. You hauled all these canvases here without me noticing. You've been locked in that studio for weeks. It wasn't that hard." Fiona handed me a glass of something sparkling. "We're calling tonight a soft launch. If it goes well, we can talk about a longer run." I nodded, even though my hands were shaking and I had no idea what to say. Becca came over and told me the abstract piece reminded her of something we used to talk about in school. One of my clients asked if I was taking new commissions. Someone I didn't even recognize asked about prints. Kieran stayed near the door the whole time, arms crossed, looking absurdly proud of himself. Later, after everyone left and Fiona locked up, I sat on the curb outside the gallery and tried to process what had just happened. Kieran sat down next to me. "You okay?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. "I feel like I'm going to wake up and none of this will be real." "It's real," he said. "Your work is good. People showed up because they wanted to see it." I looked at him. "You spent weeks setting this up." "Yeah," he said. "So what?" I didn't have an answer for that. I just leaned against his shoulder and stared at the gallery window, at the faint outline of my paintings, still hanging inside.